start off, I would say like growing up, I never really 100% thought that I would even be part of the music industry on its own, but I always felt like, at least to how I got here now, is kind of like a manifestation, because I remember like I've always loved music, and I know as cliche as it sounds, but it's true. But I've always loved music, and growing up, I kind of like was sort of like growing up overseas, and I was already a third culture kid because like the schools that I went to, they were an American international school. So we would always have like talent shows. And I was a kid that was just like, I don't really care what people think. I'm just going to go for it. So I put myself in everything, but music has always been the thing for me. So like, I remember even like, I think the most earliest like live performance that I did, like I remember I was singing like Eternal Flames by the Atomic Kitten, and then one part of it, like I totally forgot the lyrics and I sort of freestyled, if that makes sense, and I was only like in first grade. And then I was just like in my head, because I looked up to Michael Jackson the most, and then I also looked up to Britney Spears. So in my head I was like, I don't care who the audience are. I'm just imagining that I'm Britney, or like I'm someone famous already in front of all these parents and teachers. So I kind of looked over at the DJ and I'm just like, whatever, fuck it. Me at like first grade. And like my mom told me afterwards how like I definitely botched up the lyrics, but she was just like, you literally made it look as if you didn't even mess up. Like, even though your lyrics made no sense, but it's okay. It's the confidence that counts. So then like, from there, almost every year, I always joined talent shows. And even when I was like switching schools, I would still do it. And then like, I realized that, you know, obviously as I get older, especially coming from an Asian household, they're like, okay, you got to take things seriously now, because this is where your future is more stable if you get more into music. I mean, yeah, it could be like a hobby, you know, but you got to focus on the real serious things. So then I was just like, okay, you know, being a good Asian kid, I'm just like, okay. But I don't know, my dad and my mom has always told me that they could not see me doing something mediocre. Like if anything, I always like venture out into acting or like anything that involves my creativity and how I could express myself, I would always dive in there. So then I think university, like when I was like studying here in Malaysia, when I came back, that's where I think I got reconnected with music, because then I met my other friends who were doing music as well. But during universities, like aside from doing performances, I still was doubtful of my capabilities, because I was just more of the person in the background. Like if we were doing music together, I'd be the one that's like, hey, maybe you should try out this melody, or you know, try this and that. But every time someone suggests like, oh, maybe you should be at the forefront, you know, since you're so comfortable on stage, I'd be like, maybe not. But I've always enjoyed doing something, being behind the scene rather than like being the front. And then how like, I feel like my capability as a songwriter really fully developed was when I started like, I guess, my internship, because I myself came from a background of journalism. So yeah, so for me, it's like writing has always been something that I love, but even more so as I got older, it became more of like a purpose for me, because I feel like writing is not an easy thing. Not everyone can do it. And people look at it from a surface level. It could be like, oh, it's just like, you know, words put together. But I'm like, no, it's not. Like, even if you have the best sentence in the world, but if your energy in it and whatever vibes that you carry in that sentence and the storytelling that goes with it doesn't match and doesn't resonate to people, then it's a waste of even a paper, you know? So yeah, basically that. And then that basically coincides with music, because again, I use music as my form of expression. And then poetry came along. And, you know, for me, after my mom passed away, that was like the biggest, like life-changing moment for me, where I was going through a lot of like things, you know, family stuff and all that. So I really had myself. And that's when I tuned in more, I guess, artistically, because again, like I felt like I couldn't go anywhere. And then, yeah, I kind of had a rebellious phase and just like, you know, used words and music as my form of expression. And then next thing I knew, I dropped a random freestyle. I didn't know I could rap until 2018. My friend pointed it out, and then he was like, it was actually a spoken word poem. And then I said it out loud. He's like, yo, are you rapping or are you like doing poetry. I'm like, why? I'm doing poetry. He's like, maybe if you put a beat on top of it, you could actually rap. Then I did that, and then my first freestyle went viral here in Malaysia, and then that's how I think things sort of like attracted towards me. So that's what I mean by like growing up music has probably and been like a manifestation, if that makes sense. So yeah. The other day, I don't have favorite bars. There's so many bars that I could like think of, but the other day I was writing something because literally I just called it tired because I came like in this pandemic, I was super tired with everything. So I just literally wrote something called About Tired, but I didn't call it tired. I just call it tied yet. Tied yet, but like tired and tied, because I was like thinking about how like when you're tired, it feels like you're tied up. You're tied up to something. You're tied up to like responsibilities. So then I was like saying to myself, I was like, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. All in my head is a riot. I need a place that's more quiet. Voice in my head is a choir. So then I continued and I was like, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. I'm starving, my pain is a diet. If you feel my pain, take a lighter. And then I was like, smoke in my vein, I'm just tired. So I just went on about being tired. So yeah, that's just a couple bars that like about being tired.